Well, welcome back to The Megan Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we're talking about my favorite YouTube channels. The Megan Show. If you're new here, hi, I'm Megan. Thank you for clicking on this video. I have had this YouTube channel for about 2 years, but I have been watching YouTube for almost 15 years. Since I was in high school, I'm about to turn 30 next month. So I have been watching YouTube and loving so many different YouTube creators for so many years, but the YouTube recap just came out a couple of days ago. So I want to talk about my recap, and then I want to go into what I'm watching all the time right now. It is Vlogmas season. I want to talk about some podcasts I'm really loving. I prefer watching podcasts on YouTube that have video format than just listening. And then I want to talk about a lot of everyday channels that I'm watching all the time. So let me break down my YouTube recap. Okay, my YouTube recap calls me a creative spirit, which I think is very cute. My top channel is Good Mythical Morning. I'm not surprised on that one. It says I've watched over 100 or 108 videos this year, and that makes sense. I watch a lot of their kind of daily GMM videos at lunchtime when I sit down to eat, or at dinner here at home when I sit down. So that makes sense. I honestly am surprised it's not even higher than that for how many videos I've seen this year. I really love Rhett and Link. I watch a lot of their content. I watch their podcasts I'll talk about in a little bit. And I also have loved their Wonderhole series that they did 2 years of this year and last year, or 2 years ago or something like that. I knew about Rhett and Link in the early 2010s. I had an older cousin that used to talk about them when they were new. And then I kind of fell off watching them in college in the later 2010s. And in 2020, in the pandemic, I really got back into them, and I've been pretty consistent watching them and caring about them a lot more again for the past 5 years. My next two of my top 3 channels are drag race content. So Mira Mangle and Bussy Queen. Those are 2 drag queens that I love watching on YouTube. They break down all the new seasons, queens that only had 1 win but made it to the finale, and all these different things with Drag Race, RuPaul's Drag Race, if you don't know what I'm talking about. But those are my top 3 channels, which is so funny, but makes sense. Again, I do know that I watch Mira and Bussy's videos almost every one of their videos I'm watching. So those are my top 3 channels. But I had another little piece of the YouTube recap shows that I had watched over 300 different channels in 2025, which also makes sense to me because I watch such a variety, and we'll get into that when I talk about some of my many subscriptions, a lot of the different channels I'm subscribed to. So that is just a little bit of my recap, and yeah, I thought it was pretty cool that they did that. I hope they continue doing that. I just love YouTube so much. Vlogmas. Every December, I watch a few different channels that do Vlogmas, and I absolutely love it. The first one I want to talk about is Zoe Sugg and Alfie Days. Oh my God, I have loved those two probably for 12 plus years in the early, again, 2010s with the Brit Crew, lots of those cute British YouTubers. There was a big group of them, and I watched them so much, all of those people. But now in present day, I'm still watching Zoe and Alfie. They've got a beautiful little family, 2 little girls. They are big into family. They have their parents over all the time, their siblings, and they do so much together as a family. They're just such cozy vlogs, and they're long too, like upwards of 45 to 50 minutes, an hour almost. And they're British, and they live in Brighton, and they go to these cute little garden centers, and they do really cool outings with their kids, and they have beautiful parties, and their life is just so different from mine, and I've loved them for so long. So I love watching Zoe and Alfie's Vlogmas. Another couple that I watch that I've been watching probably almost just as long is Jessica and Tyler Braun. So I first started watching Jessica again in the early 2010s, maybe mid 2010s, and she was a big beauty YouTuber. She still does beauty content, but it's kind of more transitioned into lifestyle, which I like a lot as well. I've really kind of fallen off of watching a lot of beauty content as the years have gone on, but I have remained a big Jessica Braun fan. She was actually number 5 on my top 5 channels in my YouTube recap. So she and her husband Tyler, they also have 2 little girls. They don't show them, but they have just cozy home vlogs. They live in Indiana, I believe, and so they, do fun things, but also it's sometimes just like mundane life stuff. And because I've watched them for so many years, I'm invested in them. I, enjoy watching them. They also talk about Disney a lot. I'm not sure if that'll kind of come into their Vlogmas very much, but they are people that go to Disney World a lot, and that they have separate channels for that. So I kind of watch that content as well, live vicariously through them. I haven't been to Disney World since I was 18, but so I love Jessica and Tyler Braun's Vlogmas as well. Carrie Dayton is another YouTuber that I love. I especially love her thrifting content. I have gotten so into thrifting, a big part because of her and Alexa Sunshine83. They're good friends in real life and also on YouTube, but Carrie and her partner are doing Vlogmas as well. This might be my first time actually watching her Vlogmas, but I've been watching her just regular channel for the past several years. And so now I'm watching her Vlogmas, and she has a really cute intro. She lives in Los Angeles, which I love. I live vicariously through her as well. She kind of right now is bouncing back and forth between LA and Arizona, and she lives such a cool life and has beautiful things. And again, her thrifting content is, I love so much. And she has so many, like this gallery wall, like I took inspiration from her to make this gallery wall, and I just love her so much. And she does a lot of fashion content as well that I love, just like trying on clothes in different dressing rooms and things. So Carrie is another YouTuber I love so much. And the last Vlogmas I'm really watching on the daily almost is Jenica and Annika. They are a mother and daughter duo, very close in age. Jenica was a young mom, so they are like best friend, mom and daughter. They are beautiful girls, and they have a very fun life. They live in Nashville, and they are very outgoing and go to concerts all the time and go traveling. Annika is now, I think, 19, so she's like newly, of adult age. And so Jenica is now trying to, explore her life, doing things more independently. They're both very independent ladies, and they travel to these beautiful places, and their content is so fun to watch. Jenica, I love the way she edits, and I love their content very much. So they're doing Vlogmas as well. So those are the Vlogmas videos that I'm watching pretty consistently this month, and all of those make me so happy. Podcasts. There are a few podcasts I've really gotten into just this year, but there are also a few I've been watching for several years. But one of the new ones is Good Hang with Amy Poehler, which I believe she started just earlier this year, but she has come out with banger after banger. Every episode is so interesting. She does so much research on who she is about to interview beforehand, so she's asking really intriguing questions. She has this segment in the beginning where she talks well behind their back with someone who knows the guest, so like a good friend of the guest. So she'll ask them, do like a mini interview, and she'll, talk to them for a few minutes and get them to ask a question to the person she is going to be interviewing, if that made any sense. And so then she'll bring her actual guest on and say, oh, I spoke to so-and-so and they want to ask you this. And it's just formatted so nicely. Amy is so down to earth and easy to talk to with the guests. And there's usually a lot of really great chemistry. She's interviewed a lot of comedians, but she's also hit some like interesting oddball, or, not oddball, but guests that you wouldn't expect. She just had Hayley Williams of Paramore the other day, and that one was a super interesting episode. Mariska Hargitay, which I have not really seen do like long form interviews like that. That was a great episode. There's so many great episodes. The Ariana Grande episode very recently. This podcast is so good. And again, for me, watching it is so much more beneficial than just listening, but that's just my style. I love seeing it, seeing the people talking to each other. So I love Good Hang, could not recommend it enough. Another new one for this year is Handsome. It's the Handsome podcast with Mae Martin, Tig Notaro, and Fortune Feimster. So 3 really funny comedians come together to make this podcast. I believe it might have started this year too. I kind of got onto it relatively early. I think they had maybe in the tens of thousands of subscribers, and now they might be up to like a couple 100,000. Very funny together, very funny dynamic. They're all good friends with each other, and I'm always laughing so much watching their podcast, and they always are laughing with each other because they are just hilarious together. Tig is like always giving them the side eye of like, oh my God, what are y'all talking about? The podcast is very funny. They also do a question, so they'll have a celebrity guest ask them a question for a little segment, and then they'll, answer the question from the celebrity and go on. But they kind of talk about what's going on in their lives, and they're just very interesting and very funny. So I also recommend the Handsome Podcast. So Ear Biscuits, like I was talking about with Rhett and Link, is a podcast I've watched for years. In 2020, I first started getting into Ear Biscuits because of Rhett and Link's deconstruction videos from Christianity. So this has now been several years now, and they'll talk about it maybe once a year, where they're at with, kind of leaving the Christian faith. But that's just kind of how I got into Ear Biscuits, but they really talk about their lives as well. I really love when they talk about their family vacations and all of the interesting places that they have traveled to. They also are into scuba diving and like skiing and going on trips with their college buddies, like whitewater rafting and all this different stuff. And so for me, I enjoy kind of seeing behind the curtain, seeing their real lives, listening to, them talk about their real lives rather than GMM can sometimes be so silly and ridiculous. Ear Biscuits is more them talking about what's really going on and what they're into and stuff. Now, Ear Biscuits is going away. They talked about maybe just a little while ago that, they needed to kind of take a step back. They've got so much on their, plate with their workload. They needed to take a step back and kind of let Ear Biscuits go for a while or forever. So I'm a little sad about that, but it's okay. It's really fine, but I love Ear Biscuits, and I'm gonna be sad that one's gonna be gone soon. So The Bald and the Beautiful with Trixie and Katya is another podcast I really love. They, again, are hilarious friends together. They just laugh all the time. I'm always laughing watching them. Two big stars from RuPaul's Drag Race. Just love them. They'll occasionally have guests on and just talk about wild stuff. They have such funny references with each other and such great chemistry, and I just love everything they do pretty much. I also watch Trixie's, own YouTube channel. Trixie posts all the time, very interesting content, is also a makeup mogul. I also love Bob the Drag Queen and Monet Exchange. They have a podcast, Sibling Rivalry. I watch that one more for when they review, new episodes of RuPaul's Drag Race. So that hasn't been for a little while, but I love all those queens. There are lots of Drag Race queens that I love very much, and those are just a few. So now I just want to run through some of the channels that I am subscribed to that I watch on an almost daily basis. So one of them is Ten Hun or 1000 or Peter. He is an art YouTuber, extremely talented. I've bought merch from him. I have his art up on my wall. I think that one might be his art. I absolutely love his style. He makes excellent YouTube videos, very great at storytelling. Love him. I don't want to drone on. I want to get through this. So Marques Brownlee is a tech YouTuber that I trust with all of my tech questions and things. He's always reviewing phones or new laptops or just any tech gear. Marques is your guy, and they have a podcast too that I will occasionally watch if I need to brush up on what's going on in the tech world. Cody Leach is a movie reviewer that I've gotten into this year. Brittany Blaine is a gorgeous home decorator for the holidays especially. She lives in Texas and has this giant home that she decorates. She's maximalist, but with a vintage touch, and she has gorgeous pieces. And it's just again, one of those live vicariously through someone else because their life is so much different than you type of thing. And her content is so fun to watch. And again, beautiful home, beautiful decorations. Leanne Says is a YouTuber I've watched for many years. She again has a beautiful family that she'll talk about her family, but also she is into Christmas a lot. So she has done some really cute Christmas decorations. She has a beautiful pink Christmas tree that I'm envious of, but Leanne Says, love her. Emily Noel. I cannot do a video about YouTube without talking about my OG beauty content creator. She is still like into the beauty content. That is strictly what she does, and she is stayed true blue, and she is so iconic. I absolutely love Emily forever. Hannah Alonso is someone I just discovered this year. She's been on YouTube for several years, but I only found her content a few months ago. She does a lot of anti-MLM content, which I find very interesting. And I watched a lot of her like MLM horror stories videos. Like I binged a lot of those over the past few months. And boy, that is interesting. If you want to get into all of that world, definitely check her out. Jessica Kobasi is a photographer that I really enjoy watching. She does a lot of videos about America's Next Top Model. She's even interviewed several contestants like that were on the show, and she'll talk about, you know, what their real experience was, but she also does photography videos, photo shoot videos. I love Jessica. Schoolhouse Homestead is another kind of niche YouTube channel that is extremely interesting. This is a husband and wife with a couple of young kids that bought this literal elementary school in Indiana, I think, and have completely renovated it, and it is their home now. So it's like got tons of rooms. They've really like kept it to where there's like vintage pieces, but they've redone so much. It is absolutely gorgeous, and it has taken them years. And there are so many videos that if you're into that, you could watch to catch up on. It is so interesting and a beautiful, beautiful space. I'm sure there are some channels that I've left out that I'll think of in editing, so I'll have to see if I want to put some on the screen there. But that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button and liking this video, it would help me out very much. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe got some recommendations for some channels you want to check out, and I will see you in my next one. Bye. The Megan Show.